you guys doing? How you guys doing? How you guys doing? So we're gonna have a conversation about what happened in Jacksonville, and I want to have a deeper conversation because again, when it comes to the mainstream media, when it comes to other people who are involved in media, what I find oftentimes is that whenever a black person does something that people don't like or says anything that people don't agree with, what happens oftentimes is that we want to have deeper conversation. We got to have a deeper. Is this a sign of a bigger problem within the black community? How can we address these issues? That's what you usually hear. Things like that. You hear things like that, but you never really hear people discuss bigger issues when it comes to certain other communities when they harm us. So I want to have that conversation. Why do you think there's so many people out there who are so willing to ignore other people's faults, but then they're quick, very quick to jump on the black community? If you don't know what I'm talking about, yesterday in Jacksonville, in Florida, there was an incident. That incident happened, and it's not shocking to anybody. I want you to understand something, right? It's not shocking to anyone that this particular incident happened because it follows a very unique pattern in this country. I wouldn't say so much unique as much so as it is more pronounced than a lot of other nations. When you have people coming over from the African diaspora saying things like, well, we're dealing with oppression, and I totally agree with that. I have to point out to those people, we are fighting the most powerful government on planet Earth who absolutely employs and deputizes their white supremacists who are in the streets. And the one person that I'm talking about, his name is Ryan Palmeter or Pelmeter. This person is out of Clay County in Florida. And he left Clay County in Florida to travel all the way over to Jacksonville to visit a Dollar General. He was seen at a local college campus putting on a vest, a ballistics vest. I remember that from the reports. And that's before he went to that Dollar General and he carried out those acts. Now, with that being said, I want you to understand something, right? This individual, people say he's a lone wolf. People say that he acted alone. And make sure you guys are tapping the stream. Share this stream on every social media timeline because I'm going to share information that you're not going to find on any other stream. Because I remember the stream. I'm an actual journalist and I know the story. So this young man left Clay County in Florida and he traveled over to Jacksonville. And when he left his home, he called his father and told his father to check his computer. And when his father went to go and check his computer, his father found that his son might be up to no good. So his father, well, his parents called the Clay County Sheriff's Department. His parents called the Clay County Sheriff's Department, and so when they called the Clay County Sheriff's Department, they told them about the manifesto and all the writings that their son had engaged in. And so the Clay County Sheriff's Office then contacted as many law enforcement agencies as possible. They tried to put out an APB, but by that time, this young man was already carrying out these heinous acts. So that's not the end of the story. Here's the other part of the story. So back in 2016, the police were called for a domestic incident involving the same young man. His firearms were not taken then. And in 2017, there's something called the Baker Act. So in Florida, there's something called the Baker Act. The Baker Act is when a friend or family members, especially family members, can contact local law enforcement or a healthcare facility to have someone involuntarily committed because they have a fear this person might become dangerous. And so the Baker Act was enacted upon this man in 2017, and yet for some reason he still kept his firearms. So law enforcement was well aware of this individual. They were well aware of some of his views because he would always espouse them based on what I've been reading. Make sure you guys are sharing this stream because I'm going to go back over all this, all the information that you got to know so that people cannot just mislead you. Okay. What you got to understand is that right now, this young man, he was known to law enforcement. He's not a stranger. It was understood the kind of person that he was. It was known. So this young man, once again, his name is Ryan Palmeter or Pelmeter. And Ryan, right now, he's no longer with us because he took himself out. And I want you to understand something, right? This is not a unique thing. We just got finished dealing with Peyton Gendron over there at Top Supermarket in Buffalo, in New York. And that young man was in contact with a retired federal agent. You haven't heard any updates about that, have you? In fact, you find that a lot of these young men, or sometimes older men, they are inspired by other incidents. Like, for example, you remember what happened in Christchurch in New Zealand? Well, there was a New York Times report that came out in 2019 that shows that that one incident inspired 8 years. Yeah. I don't think it's Christchurch. I think it's another one particular incident, but it's one incident that inspired like eight years of terror. And Christchurch, I know, inspired two different incidents because the suspected white supremacist suspects, well, convicted suspects now, they admitted to it. So these people, you have to understand, these white supremacists who carried out these, um, no, it was Christchurch, yeah, the New Zealand shooter, yeah, yeah, absolutely, yeah, yeah, definitely. So that individual, he inspired a lot of other people to do what he did. So when people say things like it's a lone wolf, that's not true. There's no such thing as lone wolves when it comes to this stuff because these people are encouraged by each other. So whites are sleeping with the enemy of the whites. We white must attend to our own and deal with this. Yeah, I agree. Um, the thing is that what we have to discuss right now is not so much how to prevent this because this will happen. People will try this. But you have to also remember that black people, there's things that we can do to mitigate this, control this, and address this. The first thing that we gotta do, and here's one person already saying the media is trying to separate us. What does the media have to do with the suspected white supremacists going down in Florida and harming a bunch of people in a Dollar General? This is the kind of person that I'll ban from my chat, and I'm pretty sure they are under a stock account, right? So, um, my thing is that we have to discuss meaningful solutions and address things with honesty. R.J. Wilcox, that won't address it. Calling my statements ignorant, it doesn't do anything for you. It just makes you look like a racist. And at this point in time, I think the American people are getting real sick and tired of that. Even people in Florida. So you're in bad company. I encourage you to be a better person, but I know that's not within you. So, with that being said, I would just like for you to leave. I want this conversation to be for the adults. If you want to have conversations in the peanut gallery among white supremacists, go ahead. But you ain't got to do it in my chat. We need reparations. Reparations. You know, compensating people, compensating a community, compensating the community that you have agreed for so long. That's the first step. It's a show of good faith. Second, giving us an anti-black hate crime bill is another way to address this. Because yes, a hate crime bill wouldn't necessarily address it. It wouldn't necessarily prevent this, but it's something. It's more protections than what we have, and you gave other communities those same protections. I mean, people say, well, you're only 13% of the population. How can you demand so much? Well, the Asian community is only what? The Asian community is what, like 6, 7% of the population? Right? And yet, for some reason, they get everything that they possibly need. GM, I'm gonna invite you on. You can either hop on or you get banned from the chat. Which one is gonna be? Which one is gonna be? You gonna hop on there, GM? No, no, no. You hopped on, made a comment. You got 5 seconds. Nope. You struck out, GM. See, if you have over 1,000 followers and you come in saying a bunch of white supremacist dribble, you're gonna hop on. And if you have under that and you start espousing a bunch of dribble and you too disruptive, you got to go. It is what it is. See, white supremacists, they are so used to hopping on black people's spaces and controlling things, and they can't stand someone like me who won't even let you do it. We're going to have a conversation about one of your brethren, one of your cowards. Because, see, the suspected white supremacists, they will never address a strong black man like myself directly. They'll always go over to a Dollar General and ambush people. They will show up at Breonna Taylor's home. They will go after a Tamir Rice. They will never go after a strong black man like myself because, again, they're cowards. They'll hide behind their soccer accounts. They'll hide behind all that stuff. And it's very interesting, right? So, Joseph Cantu, hop on. You got 5 seconds. Joseph, you gonna hop on there, buddy? I mean, you say all I want to do is spread hate. Well, come on here and spread some love then. No? Scared? I get it, man. Listen, I understand. I am a very intimidating person. I get it. But I don't want to scare you any further, so I'm gonna ban you from my chat. That way you don't have to be scared no more. Right? They've gone after many strong black men. Well, I'm talking about who they prefer to go after. Right? They don't prefer to go after someone like me. Are they gonna intentionally target a Chris Dorner without ambushing him with a bunch of people? No. They'd rather not. They will, but they'd rather not. That's my point. So, with that being said, we have to discuss these issues with honesty. And honestly, when it comes to black people, we are the number one targets of hate crime. A lot of people don't realize that. I put that out in many videos, but it's absolutely true. You know, there was a recent report released by the FBI 2023 that found from 2022, number one target of hate crimes again. Right? You know, see, I got a feeling. And other things, the other thing that a lot of white supremacists do, they will hide behind accounts that say Black Lives Matter, that kind of stuff. See, I can kind of sense when you say silly stuff. I want you to understand something, right? Something just happened, and I'm having a conversation about it, and here you are deflecting with a bunch of nonsense. But you're hiding behind a Black Lives Matter account. I'm gonna let you know, most black people on social media, we've caught on to that. It's not very creative. And it really shows you the hatred there is for black people. See, every time you do stuff like that, it's another reason why we need reparations. It's another reason why we need an anti-black hate crime bill. It's another reason why we need tangibles. Every time you push back when something like this happens, it shows yet another reason why you need to pay up. Because even when black people are going through horrible injustices, even when we went through the injustice of slavery, even after that, even after we pulled ourselves up by the bootstrap with Black Wall Street, what does these white supremacist judges do? They deny the claim. So, you know, I don't want to see people doing stuff like this. And once again, Jacksonville was a tragedy. This is why I want to discuss it. I mean, it's a tragedy because this young man was known to law enforcement, right? This problem was known to law enforcement. This young man, it was known this young man was violent. Don't tell me this young man, they didn't know he was a bigot. See, after the fact, every time one of these folks go posted, every time, right? Notice we didn't know. Oh, we're freaking shocked. We're so shocked. We're so shocked. We're so shocked. And then when you look deeper, you find out people weren't so shocked as they claimed. It's like law enforcement, right? The Jacksonville police, the pigs there, the sheriff's deputies there. Oh man, it's such a shocking incident. How could we have known? How could we have known? Even Clay County, how could we have known? And then you find out, oh, well, he was known to law enforcement in 2016 and 2017. This man was known. They knew who he was. They understand who he was. Just like people say they didn't know about some of the other shooters. You know, I put out a video. Go on YouTube. I'm known as ACAB Devil on YouTube. There's a long stream that I did on TikTok. I released on YouTube. I might release parts of it on my TikTok channel as well. But I went through a New York Times report that was released in 2019. And they found that a lot of the shooters, a lot of the people who do this kind of stuff, who have the same ideology as a Peyton Gendron, as a Dylan Roof, as a Ryan Palmiter, all those people were encouraged by each other. So you have one white supremacist suspect who, like for example, the guy from New Zealand, if you read what he wrote or read some of the things that he posted, it was a bunch of memes. It was stuff that you would hear from like maybe America or maybe Canada. A lot of the memes that were from like right here. So all that stuff that you claim are just jokes. Oh, guys, it's just jokes, guys. It's just jokes. It's not racism. It's just jokes. It's just conversations. Right? They all claim that. They all claim that. But is it really just jokes? Is it really just conversation? Is it really just someone trying to get to the bottom of the truth? When you bring up a police, a police officer shooting an unarmed black person, the first thing they want to say is, well, can we wait till the whole video gets out, as if a person shooting an unarmed person, as if that is ever justified. But even in this case, right, you're going to have people saying, oh, it's just an isolated incident. It's not an isolated incident. It's not an isolated incident. It was never an isolated incident. And they understand that. People understand that. And white supremacists, even their white supremacist adjacent allies, people who call themselves Democrats. See, it ain't just Republicans. Republicans are absolutely racist. 100%. Right? Right? 100%. But even their racist allies from the left, the people who live in Los Angeles who got, Black Lives Matter signs, but they are voting for the freaking NYPD. Those folks. Right? So what you'll find is that a lot of those folks are racist. And every time you bring up an issue when something happens to a black person, everyone will say, oh, we're all together. We're all together. We are together strong. And yet when it comes to being together strong for getting us a anti-black hate crime bill, then it's just, well, can you wait to the next cycle? Well, just vote now and then you'll get it later. Or hey, just vote blue no matter who. But you don't tell the LGBT community that. You don't tell the Hispanic community that. I know you don't tell them that, because all I know, right? All I know is there's people here who ain't even citizens. You go talk to some of the black folks who live in Chicago. You look at some of the people from Ukraine who's getting all this money. How many homeless Ukrainians do you see? See, every time I ask that question, you get somebody who BS's and lies. There are no homeless Ukrainians here. There are none. I work with the homeless. One of the biggest states who took in Ukrainians was Washington State. I know, because we put them in hotels, in homes, in vacant homes, and we gave them cars. And many of them pretty soon will qualify for Social Security. So don't you fix your mouth to tell that lie. I actually live near some. See, and I know some of my views. It has definitely caused some friction, right? It has definitely caused some friction. Definitely. They put, yeah, exactly. Somebody said named Obi here's Obi-Wan says, nope, they put Ukrainians and people from Afghanistan in the best communities. Yeah, absolutely. And then when they predictably do better than the black people who's been oppressed, who's never gotten the economic hand up, right? When they predictably do better, then it's, well, why can't you pull yourself up by the bootstraps? Oh, person from freaking Afghanistan, why don't you go back there and deal with the Taliban government? Oh, crickets now, huh? The corruption. But you can't fix your same lips to say that for the people who've been punished for centuries here. You freaking hypocrite. This is why I say, if we don't let another one over, I don't care. I tried to have some sympathy. I served in that war, but I don't care no more. If you're not gonna have sympathy for my folks, I have none for yours. Zero. Zero. You get folks coming over here from different parts of the African diaspora who understands what white supremacy is, right? They understand that. They get it. But then they'll come over here and says, well, I don't know what black people over here went through. But then you'll say you don't know what black people over here went through, but then take your behind and put yourself on a reparations task force. Or go teach about American slavery. If you don't know about the issue, shut the hell up. Don't seek positions in which you have influence over the very thing you say you don't understand. You get Hispanic people who will come over here talking smack about black people. Excuse me. Last I checked, a lot of you have black grandmothers, a black abuela. I know because my wife, she has to, her grandmother unfortunately just passed, right? Unfortunately just passed. Unfortunately just passed. And my wife will tell you her grandmother's, a lot of people call her black. See, a lot of Hispanic people don't want to tell you that. See, my wife's father was white. That's why she looks so white. But her grandmother, if you saw her, you're like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait. One of us. One of us. It's wild, man. Like, it's crazy. But a lot of people come over here talking smack about the black people that have been here fighting for your right to come here. Right? Rose Scholar, I'm going to invite you on. I want to have a conversation with you, Rose Scholar. Rose Scholar, let's have a conversation. Because I don't want to see another comment from you. I don't want to hear about how you at work. I don't want to hear about that. If you can type in the TikTok comment section, you can hop your stuff on. Let's have a conversation. No, Rose Scholar, you got to go. No. He's saying he's trying to put his kid to sleep. Then why are you typing in the TikTok chat then? I have an infant son, and I know there's no way I can type and do that at the same time. It ain't gonna happen. But the thing is that you get people who come over here with the same anti-black hatred that you see from the dominant white society, and that's why it continues. That's why it continues. I want you to understand something, right? That continues not because of the white supremacists, because the white supremacists are predictable. It's all their allies around. That freaking Mihola La Raza stuff that nobody wants to talk about from the freaking Hispanic community. That freaking model minority stuff from the Asian community that nobody wants to talk about. That stuff. See, it's not hard to push anti-black racism when you have allies that will help you push it. See, my problem, the issue that I have with some people who date interracially It's not that you do it, because I have no issue with you doing it, because I do it. My issue is that when you go over there and you don't come back and tell black folks what I'm trying to tell you, right? That's my issue with it. If you know there's white supremacists, or at the very least anti-black racists in other communities, come back and warn folks. Come back and warn folks. I'm telling you, there is. When you look at a lot of these suspected white supremacist males, they're not even white. They're white Hispanic. A lot of people don't. A lot of people don't know that many of the deputy gangs you got in law enforcement, many of them are not even white. They're Latino males. My wife is currently she's a court reporter. They call them stenographers. And she's working on a case right now out of California where there's a deputy gang that none of you have even heard of yet, and I know because the case is currently in federal court. It's not been revealed yet. It's not been revealed yet. I can't talk about it. She's told me a few things. Those things can be repeated, but I'm not going to say it because I don't want to get her in trouble. She makes a lot of money. But I'm telling you, and the one thing that she told me was that most of those guys weren't white. See, you're wondering, how can an anti-black racist go into a Dollar General and unalive a bunch of black people? Right? You're wondering how. Look at who's the governor. Look at who's the governor. Ron DeSantis. DeSantis. Look at You think that do you think that it's just the Republicans? Go over to L.A. What about the L.A. City Council? Ron DeSantis in the L.A. City Council. I guarantee you they might disagree on some things politically, but when it comes to black folks, they would definitely agree. You're wondering how a suspected white supremacist male can just go into a Dollar General, right? You're wondering why? When you got the governor, last name DeSantis, right? Look at the leader of the Proud Boys, Enrique Tarrio. Enrique Tarrio. The leader of the Oath Keepers, Stephen Rose. His mother wasn't white. His mother was Hispanic. DeSantis. I gotta ask you a question, man. The reason why is the reason why someone can go into a Dollar General and do stuff like this because they understand, right? They all understand that when it comes to anti-black racism, everybody gets on code. Excuse me, I just named several communities, and it wasn't just the Hispanic one. It was others. This is why we are the number one target of hate crimes. Go look it up. Who is the number one target of hate crimes? And then as soon as I say that, right, you have some disingenuous douchebag out there who will say, well, but crimes amongst other groups are rising. But who's number one in victims? Us. That means that it's not just white people. Yes, white people are the number one perpetrators, but it's other groups who target us too. The Asian community, Hispanic community, others target us too. Others too. So what I need for you to understand is, right, anytime you'll get a bunch of one incident where a black person harms a single Asian person, suddenly it's news articles, it's conversations, it's endless discussions, right? You would think black people would at least be 25% of the perpetrators. We're less than a quarter. Who's the vast majority? White people. In fact, if you look at the Asian community, a lot of them commit anti-black hate crimes against black people. See? Kentucky Woodson Water. Let's have a conversation. Let's have a conversation. Anybody with over 1,000 followers, if you're in the comment section, I don't want to see a bunch of hiding out in the comment section. I want to see you have a conversation. I want to see you have a conversation, because the one thing that I've noticed about a lot of these suspected white supremacists is that they will hide in the comment section because they understand what's going to happen here. Tammy, hop on. Tell you what, Willie Dukes, I'm going to make you moderator if I haven't already done that. And I want you to go through and make sure that anyone who's spewing a bunch of nonsense that has over 1,000 followers, make sure you block them and make sure you mute them for the entire chat. NY Rican, you hop on too. Right? NY Rican, hop on. EH, I want you to hop on. Again, I'm going to give you all 5 seconds to hop on. One of you better hop on. Okay. All right. So, NY Rican, you've been nothing but disruptive, so you got to go. Again, NY Rican, Puerto Rican. So this guy's from Puerto Rico, and he's disrupting the chat about discussing anti-black violence, which actually further confirms exactly what I've been saying. Confirms exactly what I've been saying. Confirms exactly what I've been saying. A bunch of people get on code, right? A bunch of people get on code when it comes to that kind of stuff. He made a choice. They made a choice. Everybody gets on code when it comes to anti-black racism. That's why a suspected white supremacist male can walk into a Dollar General and do that. Dan 1U, hop on. See, this shows the cowardice of the average anti-black racist. The cowardice. Because if you're so brave, why don't you hop on? Why don't you have the conversation? Am I that terrifying to you? And it really shows these people don't have the ability to have conversations. They only have the ability to be racist, and that's why they're like this. That's why. That's why. Anti-black racists cannot stand it when a black person tells the truth. And the one thing that I've noticed, especially with a lot of these anti-black racists, is that a lot of them ain't even white. I guarantee you, if you go look at that young man, at some point there's some Hispanic in his family. It wouldn't shock me. And it's not a knock against Hispanic people. It's against certain people. Certain people. The people who don't want to admit to it, because there's a whole lot of Hispanic people out there who are absolute allies. Absolutely, I've seen them, especially black Hispanics. Right? Especially. But the thing is that what we're having across the country is anti-black racism on a level that, quite frankly, should alarm you, and it should make you concerned to live in this country as an American. As an American, it should concern you that there are individuals out there who will go after people as they're shopping. People are going through a tough time right now with freaking inflation, with everything that we've been through recently, rising housing costs, fuel costs, everything else. And you still have people out there who don't think that we've been through enough as a country. You still want to be an anti-black racist. And that's why I think at this point, this country has to cough up some cash, pay reparations, make an anti-black hate crime bill, and show me that you care. At this point, we don't want to hear about thoughts and prayers. Your thoughts are racist, and you pray to a racist white Jesus anyways. Or the versions of Jesus that you like, the versions of them that you like, are white Jesus, not the actual Jesus, not the Middle Eastern Jesus, not the Jesus who would not support bootlicking. That Jesus. So this young man was radicalized. They're claiming that he's a lone wolf, that he acted alone, that there's no evidence that he acted with anyone else or with another group. But my thing is that when you look at certain New York Times reports from 2019, you look at some of the FBI reports, what you'll find is that there is a link. These men are not lone wolves. They are encouraged by each other. This is why many people have taken the efforts that they do to not glorify these people, to mock them, to make fun of them, or not even mention them in some cases, because we understand these individuals are empowered by each other. So when you look at the individual who carried out these acts in Jacksonville, Florida, you look at a lot of other incidents, what you'll find is that they are being encouraged by each other. Like, for example, you look at what happened in Christchurch. Christchurch inspired generations of new people. I wouldn't say literal generations, but I would say it definitely inspired other people to become like this person. So it is a very unique pattern that we're seeing amongst the country. Now, I wouldn't say unique in terms of geographic location, but I would say unique in terms of the perpetrators, the demographics. Don't want to demonize all white people, because not all white people are responsible for this. But I will say there appears to be a divide. There appears to be certain communities who can tolerate certain violence versus others. Now, you might be asking, how can someone, and I said this in my last live before it went down, how could someone go over to a Dollar General and carry out these acts? Well, it's because so many people get on code when it comes to anti-black racism. When it comes to anti-black racism, a lot of people get on code. You look at, for example, certain communities who want to be the model minorities. You look at, for example, you look at certain communities who come from south of the border. It's not all of them. It's not all of them. It can't be all of them. But it's a certain percentage of them who have this certain mentality. I'm going to say a term. It's known as mijola la raza. Mijola la raza is Spanish for improve the race. You look at Ron DeSantis. I mentioned the Oath Keepers. The leader of the Oath Keepers, his mother was Hispanic. You look at Enrique Tarrio, the leader of the Proud Boys. You know, you could bring up Larry Elder, you could bring up so many other people all you want to, but when you look at who's number one target of hate crimes in this country, the FBI says it's black people, and it's not even close. It's black people. Google it. Before you leave some comment, just Google it. Just Google it. Just Google it. Google it. Who's the number one target of hate crimes? Who has been the number one target of hate crimes? It's black people. And like I said, it's not even been close. It's not even been close. Pyrodeck says, I agree. What's your thoughts on these videos where these attacks occur? My thoughts on some of the videos, it depends on the video. Like, for example, what happened with Jordan Neely. I mean, that's another case of white supremacist violence, because Daniel Penny, the more you learn about him, the more he seems like the type. You know, oh, I can't be racist. I wanted to go visit Africa. The white shoelaces. Again, people say, oh, the white shoelaces. That doesn't mean anything. This man wore a suit with Chuck Taylors and white shoelaces. A lot of these other white supremacist males wear the exact same white shoelaces no matter what they wear. That's not a random pattern. It's not a random pattern. So what I think about all the black people who sit around and watch that, shame on them. And it's juxtaposed to the black people from the Alabama boat brawl, right? Juxtaposed to that. So in Alabama, black people showed you how you're supposed to respond to white supremacist violence. But apparently that memo wasn't gotten over with the situation involving poor Jordan Neely. So you see so many cases where black people are targeted, and yet the first thing that people do is look to blame the victim, deny it, or hope that it just blows over. You remember what happened with Ahmaud Arbery? You remember how people like Tim Pool, so-called journalists, Asian American, you would think would be a ally to us, right? But no, he went from the model minority thing. He blamed Ahmaud Arbery. He said, "Oh, Ahmaud Arbery, he was wearing boots. He wasn't jogging. He wasn't wearing boots. He was going to break into a place. He wasn't breaking it into a place." Those guys weren't racist. You have no proof of that. We find out they are racist. Travis McMichael, all kinds of racist things that other people have said that he said, and on top of that, things that he's posted on social media, saying that he's so glad that he's on a boat because there's no black people around. And he didn't say black people. He said the other word. The other word. So he was always racist. So there was never a reason to doubt it was a racial attack. But people doubted it because it was a black person claiming it. The moment black people mention that we go through anything, it's either deny, or pretend like there's some equivalent struggle that you have. That's the default position of most people, right? Like right now, we're talking about a racial attack that happened to black people in Florida, and you got some person now. Let me see. Can black people be racist? You're talking about a racial attack that happened in Florida, and here you are doing that. See, that's another version of anti-black racism. It's when black people can't be victims even when we're 6 feet under. Even when we're 6 feet under. It's just, it really shows you the depravity of some people. It really shows you the depravity of some people. Derek, hop on. You have over 1,000 followers. Let's have a conversation. Willie Dukes, what happened? The last live went down. People kept reporting it. It's not going to work anymore, unfortunately, for them. I got a message from a TikTok moderator, and they said, we apologize for that. We've been having an issue with people doing this, and we're going to take action. So a lot of people don't realize that TikTok is now taking action against people who just do this false flagging stuff, and the VPNs aren't gonna save you. They're doing IP bans now, which is good. Good. East Coast Marine Nature says the problem is that many black Americans act like victims even when they're not. We're the number one victim of hate crimes. Right? Number one victim of hate crimes. What do you mean we're pretending? See, this shows you the inability of some people to understand facts, and then the willingness to expose themselves as anti-black racists. The willingness, it's amazing. People would rather lose an arm than to admit to anti-black racism. It's sad. What does it benefit you to be an anti-black racist? To be a white supremacist? What does it benefit you? Right? What does it benefit you? J4J, I want you to hop on. You said show the stats that black people are number one victims of hate crimes. I want you to hop on, and I want you to see this. I want you to hop on. I want you to see this because I want you to see how easy. So I'm going to turn on my desktop, right?
Wait, hold on. Let me come back. It's glitching right now. Let me come back.
It's glitching. Okay, cool. It's on the FBI website. Yeah, it's pretty common like information. Yeah, you can hop on whenever you want to, man. Again, if you have over 1,000 followers, you can definitely hop on. I have no problem with that. So let's see.
Dang, I can't see your screen.
Can you see me?
Let me reset my TikTok. Okay, I'll be right back.
Yeah. It's cool. All right, so I want to show you this because, in fact, hold on. I still have this tab open from yesterday. I still have the tab open from yesterday. Where is that tab? Where is that tab? I did a live yesterday. And I want you guys to see this real quick. So, give me a second. So, here we go. So, this is from official sites. Here we go. So, we're going to go over to the DOJ site. A lot of people have been questioning this. Hate crime stats. Number one motivator for hate crimes and bias incidents is for race at 64%. So for all the people from the Jewish community says, oh, there's a bunch of black people targeting me because I'm Jewish. Number one target of hate crimes is us. For all the Asian people saying that, it's not true. It's never been true. Known offenders, 56.1% were white. More than half were white. Were white. I'm going to say it for you one more time. They were white. The majority of people who perpetrate hate crimes are white. The majority of victims are black. You don't believe that? Let's go open up some other things, right? DOJ, right? DOJ. Type in. FBI releases supplement to the 2021 hate crime stats. Department of Justice, the DOJ is saying this. So let's go down here, right? According to this year's data, according to this year's data, 63.1% of single bias incidents were motivated by the offender's bias towards race / ethnicity / ancestry, which continues to be the largest bias motivation category. Anti-black or African American hate crimes continue to be the largest bias incident category, with 31.1% of all single bias incidents in 2021. Now, for all the talk of black people going after Asian people, I want to highlight this. Additionally, anti-Asian incidents represented 7.1% of incidents reported in 2021. The other largest categories of hate crimes included anti-Hispanic or Latino incidents with 6.6% of incidents, and anti-white incidents at 10.5%. The single largest one is against us. The single largest one. But the Asian community got a hate crime bill that we didn't get. How does the single largest target of hate crimes don't get a hate crime bill, but one of the smallest gets one? So that's why I don't want to hear people say things like, oh, why do you want that, right? Why do you want that? This is why we need reparations, an anti-black hate crime bill, and we need an actual serious conversation about racism located within other communities other than white. It ain't just white people at this point. You ain't gotta be white to push anti-black racism. Don't believe me? Go ask the LA City Council. Go ask Ron DeSantis. Go ask Enrique Tarrio from the Proud Boys. Go ask Stephen Rose from the Oath Keepers. Go ask the deputy gangs down there in California, who, by the way, a lot of them ain't white. By the way, that's why that man felt so comfortable going down into a Dollar General and doing what he did. That's why. That's why. Right? That's why. That's why he did it. That's why he felt so comfortable with going into a Dollar General and doing that, because he understands he has allies that ain't, and some of those allies ain't even white. We have seen too many incidents from the LA City Council, from the LAPD, LA County Sheriff's Department, NYPD, Chicago PD, with officers who ain't white doing some of the same anti-black race soldier white supremacist nonsense. So it's been past time we had a conversation. Been past time we had a conversation about the climate of anti-black racism. And it's time for us to stop lying about it and be honest about it. It ain't just white people. That's why he felt. That's why he felt he could do that. That's why. That's why. That's why he felt he can go into a Dollar General, because he understands we live under a system of white supremacy. He understands we live under a same system, whereas Kim Potter can shoot a 21-year-old boy. Really, when you're 21 years old, you a boy to me, in my opinion. Claims she was going for a taser. She barely serves time. You look at situation out of Texas. White officer, woman, comes into the wrong apartment drunk. Right? Amber Geiger. Fatally shot both in John. Amber Geiger gets a hug, a two-piece, and a Bible. 15 months. Yeah. About 15 months, yeah. Amber Geiger barely did time. Breonna Taylor. Police officers falsely obtain a warrant. You have morons out here claiming, oh, she was doing this and doing that, doing this and doing that. She did nothing wrong. You say, well, she hung out with a guy who's bad. She got away from him. So what are you telling other women? Even if you get away from somebody who might not be the best for you, you still deserve to get whatever you got. That's what you're telling every young lady out there with anytime you're criticizing Breonna Taylor. But the cops lied. They go over to her freaking house. There was money removed. A lot of people don't actually remember that. The cops actually removed money and never brought that money back. They stole it. And somebody's gone because of that. So they not only unalive someone, they not only lied to a judge, they harmed an innocent black woman for no reason. And someone's walls got more justice than Breonna Taylor. And you're wondering why some suspected white supremacists felt comfortable enough after all that, right? After all that, we still don't get an anti-black hate crime bill. Still don't get reparations. Still don't get actual tangibles. That's why he felt comfortable doing that. This is why I don't want to hear Democrats, Joe Biden. I don't want to hear Republicans. I don't want to hear anybody. At this point, if you're not talking about tangibles for black people, we ain't talking. I don't care what you got behind your name, an R or a D. You want to know why? Sure, this latest incident happened in Florida. And yeah, Ron DeSantis, he's a racist Republican. Sure, I get that. But the LA City Council, what happened there? Democrats, right? Why do I see so many homeless black people in freaking New York? Aren't those Democrats? Chicago, Philadelphia. My thing is that why do I see so many people who are unwilling to see the condition we find ourselves in across this country? That man did that the same way the Christ Church, that particular incident inspired so many other white supremacist attacks. The same way that inspired so many others. This man felt encouraged He felt encouraged because he saw all the other incidents, be it law enforcement, be it common citizens, be it, look at what happened with Ahmaud Arbery. He understood that, hey, the only reason why they caught the situation with Ahmaud Arbery is because one of the lawyers involved released a video thinking that it was going to make their clients look good, but it didn't. It did the exact opposite. The exact opposite. And that was the only reason why. This man thought, right? This man thought, hey, he got away with this. If I could just do this and then get away, I get away with it. They'll give me an excuse. They'll say, oh, he has this kind of problem, that kind of problem. They'll give me the Kyle Rittenhouse excuses. The freaking nonsense. This is a part of the Rittenhouse effect. I hope you know. A part of it. When you got a suspected white supremacist judge acting as a freaking criminal defense for another suspected white supremacist, that shows you a lot. See, with Rittenhouse, a lot of people say, oh, whoa. How could you say that? How could he be racist? Well, when he went down to South Carolina, he had lunch with the Attorney General. The Attorney General. The Attorney General, who is himself a racist. I know. I spent more than 30 years in South Carolina. I served with that guy. South Carolina Army National Guard. I served with him. So I know he's a racist. Everyone knows that. They went to a restaurant called Maury's Barbecue. Maury's Barbecue was owned by this guy named Maurice Bessinger. Maurice Bessinger was one of the most racist people in the country. He put up Confederate flags at every location. South Carolina is known as an eating state. You can eat a lot of different things there, right? A lot of different things there. They picked that restaurant intentionally. That's why Ryan Palmer felt so comfortable doing what he did. That's why. Because when you get a string of white supremacists who are given comfort, given slaps on the wrist in court, they're allowed to choke people out on camera. People just sitting around watching. They're in law enforcement. The FBI has been putting out reports about it over and over and over again. Yet nothing is done about the white supremacists in law enforcement. You wonder why this man felt so comfortable doing that? Why he felt no resistance? Why he can drive from a different county, put on body armor on a college campus, and do this? You wondering how? You're wondering how if the very president who says, Joe Biden, who says, black people have my back, so I'm going to have your back, right? Same black people are asking you for an anti-black hate crime bill. Same black people are asking you for reparations. Where are you, Joe Biden? Where are you? He's going to give a bunch of thoughts and prayers. He's not going to give legislation. Right? He's not going to do that. Joe Biden, much like every other Democrat or Republican, all of them are white supremacists. All of them. You want to know why? Because when I look around and see the results, I mean, it looks like white supremacist results. Anyways, guys, it's going to be it for me today. Thank you all for joining me, man. That's it for you guys. I want you guys to be safe out there. Until next time, horns up, peace out, good night, and good luck.